Gimel. The third stanza of Psalm 119 begins in your prayer book, page 764, after the word Gimel. Begins with this verse: "Deal bountifully with your servant, that I may live and keep your word." In other words, Lord, bless me with your abundance so that I may take care of my needs, that I may live, and that I may care for others, which is what keeping your word is about, that I may keep your word, which calls me to care for others. Give me your abundance that I may share your abundance with others. This prayer begins this third stanza, "Deal bountifully with your servant," perfectly conveys the meaning of the Hebrew letter Gimel, which is the letter that dominates this stanza poetically. Every verse of this stanza begins with the letter Gimel. The Gimel is associated with the camel, which in Hebrew is gamal. Gamal. So our word camel is actually derivative of the Hebrew gamal. And when the Bible was written, the camel was a sign of wealth. Someone who owned 3,000 camels, as Job did, would have been considered a millionaire. So the letter Gimel is associated with wealth and with abundance. And if you spin the dreidel and it lands on the Gimel, then you win everything that's in the pot. You get all the chocolate gelt. Because in dreidel, the game of dreidel, the Gimel stands for ganz, which means all. All, you get it all. There's a book called the Sepher Yetzirah, which is the oldest book, oldest extant book that we know of on Jewish mysticism, unless you consider the Gospels or the Christian scriptures Jewish mysticism, which I do. But after those Christian texts, the oldest book we have on Jewish mysticism is the Sepher Yetzirah, which translates to the Book of Creation, and it was written around the 3rd or 4th century. And it describes the letters of the Hebrew alphabet as kings, as royalty, and talks about God creating these letters, which, as I said before, these letters, according to Jewish mysticism, hold together all of creation. So according to the Sepher Yetzirah, the Book of Creation, God made the letter Aleph, the king over breath. Remember what I was saying about Aleph and breath? Aleph invites us to breathe and breathe into our authenticity. The letter Bet was made king over wisdom. Remember finding the house of wisdom by wrestling with Scripture, even though we might be outside. Excellent insight for us now as we're not able to gather in a house of worship. And God made the letter Gimel king over wealth and abundance. And wealth is only fulfilled when it is shared with others. That is why we are given wealth, to share it with others. Wealth is only meaningful when it inspires generosity, especially towards those who are in need. Some say that the letter Gimel represents a person running. Let me show you. Show you how to write Gimel. This is Gimel. So now, picture a person running. Maybe not all that clear, but these creative Jewish thinkers thought of the Gimel as a person running. Specifically, as a person running towards a poor person who is in need, running to help someone who is in need. A person with resources helping someone who does not have resources. So it is so appropriate that the Gimel stanza in Psalm 119 begins with that prayer: "Deal bountifully with your servant, so that I may live and share that bounty that you give me with others, especially those in need." That's the lesson of Gimel, the camel, the symbol of wealth that inspires generosity.